Welcome back, guys and girls. My name is Coxie and this is going to be part 17 in our first person shooter tutorial series in Unity, and today we're going to be adding some more things to our player HUD, which is just the overlay that you see in the game. We've already got our bullet counter here for our carried ammo and the current ammo in our magazine, and then what we're going to do today is add a health bar and a health counter as well, so that we can keep track of the player's condition while we're playing the game, instead of just being able to see it here in our current health when the game's playing. So let's get started straight away. There's so many different ways you can do a health bar, just like everything else, and today we're just going to do it well, I think it's a pretty simple way to do it, so we'll do it like this, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So what we're going to do is, you'll see you've got when you're in scene, you've got your 2D button here. I always click it on 2D when I'm using the UI system. I just find it so much easier. But anyway, you guys do what you want. Just remember, when you finish, you can just click off that 2D button and go back to 3D mode. So here is our canvas, and we've got our crosshair image there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the canvas and go UI, create a panel, and I'm going to call this health. This is just going to be an empty we're going to use it as an empty game object, just to store the rest of the health stuff we're going to need, like the slider and the text. So if you go onto the color here for the panel, just completely turn it transparent so that you can't see the background of it. We don't need that. And then right click on health, and we can go UI, and what we're going to use is the actual built-in Unity slider. You don't have to use a slider, you can use something else, but we're going to use a slider today because that's really easy. So you click on the anchors up here, like everything appears in the middle when you make it. So if you click up here, and we can anchor it to the left bottom corner, and then if you hold down Shift and Alt, we can click that same left bottom corner and it will place it down there for us, and it's also anchored to that corner, so that if we change the screen resolution or anything like that, the actual the health bar will still stay where we put it down here. Okay, and I'll change this to health slider. Just going to double click on that to have a look at it. So I'm going to just move this to about there, I suppose, maybe a little bit up, and going to resize it to 320, probably 50. If you look in your game view, you'll see that it's actually not that huge as it looks right now. So you'll see that on the health slider we have some different components on it. So this handle slide area, we're not going to use this at all, so you can actually just delete that straight away, and then we're left with this. So to break it down, we have the actual slider itself, which has the slider script, and this is what we're going to be using to manipulate the health bar. So you'll see now the value of the slider is set to 0. This is this little thing here, and if you slide this forward, you'll see that it fills up. Okay, it hasn't gone all the way, but we can fix that easy enough. So this is what we're going to be using to gain and lose health, and this background is just the background here. So you can change this to just change that to red straight up. You change yours whatever you want. Mine's kind of orange, but that doesn't matter. And then if we just change the actual fill, which is this thing here, if we change that to green and go back to the actual health slider, if we put this all the way up, you'll see that we still have a little bit to go. So click on the fill area, not the fill there, the actual fill area, its parent, and then go to the rect tool. You'll see that we can actually just drag this to the end. And now if we go to our health slider, we should be able to go all the way to the end. The only issue is now this little fella here, it doesn't go away. I mean, you can leave it like that if you want, if you don't mind that, but I would rather just the green completely go when the health is on 0. So we can do that easy enough. If you bring this back down, and this time on the actual fill itself, if you come up here to the width, change that to 0, and then just go back to the fill area and just drag these to the ends like that, okay? And now if we use our little slider, we need to go back a little bit more and forward a little bit more. So go back to fill area and just pull these just out. You'll see the line change blue when it gets to the same as the other line. See that? I hope you can see that. That means that that line is exactly lined up with the outside line as well. So now it should be perfect. If we go like that, we can go all the way to the end and then all the way back down, okay? So that's good. That's what we want. And now what we're going to do is add some text. So back on the health, right click, text, and we'll call this health counter. I don't know why I made it 2 words. I usually just do 1 word like that. So that's going to be in the middle of our screen as well. I'm not going to zoom out, just it's in the middle of the screen. So if you click on the actual rect transform of the counter, and then the same as before, click on the left so it anchors it down here. And then if we go Shift Alt and then click on this again, it puts our text down here. And we can just move this into the middle here. And we'll change it to a 0. I'll make it bold, and I'll change these to the middle, the actual alignment. So go best fit, and I'll change the color to white for now. It's actually not very big. I'll try it. I think this actually just needs to be a bit bigger. So I'll just make this a bit bigger, keeping that 0 there, and I'll change the font size to 20. And if you look in the game view, you'll be able to see that that's what it looks like now. So that's actually pretty good. That'll do for now. So we may need to just slide that down a little bit more. Okay, so that's pretty much all set up. We'll set up the script now. So go to our scripts, player script, and open up the player health. Okay, so in the player health, we used to have an update function. I just deleted it out just before because I didn't want to do it that way. It's actually a bad way to do it, which is what I said when we were doing it. But I just wanted something there to start off with. But I've actually deleted the whole update function now. So you can go ahead and get rid of the update function on your player health script. And instead, we'll just change the actual function that we use to damage our player, which is this one here. And instead of saying if current health is greater than 0, what we'll say is if damage, so the amount of damage that the enemy is going to do to us, if that is greater than or equal to current health, then we should just be dead. I'm just going to cut this out. Yeah, we'll automatically, in that circumstance, we'll just be dead. So we can just say that straight away. And when we call our dead function, we set our health back to 0. as well. So our health should be set to 0, and we should probably, in our else statement, we'll paste in the current health minus equals the damage. And we could just cut this whole thing out and just say if current health is greater than 0, just to be safe. It's not going to matter because we actually freeze our game, or our enemies and that become disabled as soon as the player is dead for now, which is just how I wanted it for now. We can always change that later on, but this should be good like that. So I'll save that. So if the damage the enemy is doing to us is greater or equal to what the health we've already got, well, we're just dead straight away. So if it's not greater or equal to the current health that we've got, we're just going to take the damage away from our current health. And this can only happen if we actually have more health, more than 0 health, which is what we're saying here. So that's should be okay. Now we'll set up our health slider and our health counter text. So we need to use Unity UI again, Unity Engine.ui, and under our max health here we can just say public slider, and this is our health slider, and then public text, and this is our health counter, and we can, what we'll do is when we actually take damage here, we will need to make our slider go down, and it'll also need to go down if we're dead. So when we're dead, first of all, we know that our health bar needs to be completely depleted. So we'll just write here health slider dot value equals 0. So that's how we actually access the value of our health slider. This value here is what we're using, so we can actually just access it that easily by just writing health slider dot value, and we'll set that to 0 if we're dead, of course, and we'll also need to make it go down here. So we'll say health slider dot value minus equals damage as well. And then we need to update our text. So this is unnecessary doing a whole function for it, but I just prefer to do it this way. Update UI text. Or we can just say update health counter. And what we need to do is say health counter dot text equals current health dot toString, and that'll convert the text into a string, and we will need to call that let's just call it outside of this if and else statement. So just in the if current health is greater than 0, we'll say update health counter. So if this function gets called at all, then we're going to update that if we've got more than 0 health. We'll do it at the start of the game. And that Oh, of course we need to do it here as well in dead. So update health counter. So save that and then go back into the game. And we can, where it says max value here, we'll just set that to 100 because we've got 100 health. And we need to go to our player, and you'll see on our health script we now have the 2 slots. So we need to drag the health slider into health slider and health counter into health counter. That's why I've labeled everything like that, so that it's just really easy if for some reason these ever come out of their slots, which can happen depending on what you're doing. Yeah, you'll know exactly what needs to go in there. So I'll save the game. Make sure you have set the max value to 100 here, otherwise it's not going to work either. So if we go on and play the game, oh dear, that text just decided to move. So on an actual health counter, just going to make that the same size, and I'll take off best fit. You can take off things like this as well, like raycast target and things like that, because we don't need it to be a raycast target. It's not going to be interactable. And also with the health slider, there's probably things here that you don't need as well, but we can just leave it like that. You can also change it, so at the moment it's going left to right. You can actually change it to different things. So you could have a health bar that's standing vertical if you wanted to, and have it going from the top or coming up from the bottom. So that's why the health slider is, the actual slider is quite handy to use. And just have a look here. It's not interactable, so we don't need to use that either. So I'll save that again, go back into our game. I'll just maximize this. So now if the zombie hits us, our actual slider hasn't set itself, but we can see now the text actually works. We're on 0 health. So we'll just go back into our script, and we just need to say at start we'll need to say health slider dot value equals max health as well. Save that. Okay, there we go. So maximize that. And now he hits us, we're losing our health, and counter's also going down until it's completely gone and we're dead. They're both, the health bar is depleted and the text is on 0. So that is basically it, guys. We now have our player HUD a little bit more, or we've added a little bit more to it. Yeah, and it seems to work fine. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.